India, there are two types of leaders. Those of us who come via the voting machine, and then there are many who come via the washing machine. There are still people who say, wait, you don't know Modi ji. Wait 6 months and see. The BJP will get 300 members. To them I say, no, this will not happen this time. Because every potential turncoat will have to choose between temporary greed or fear and between permanently becoming politically irrelevant. So you can offer you can accept a temporary offer of a ministry, you can accept a temporary settlement of an existing trumped-up CBI or ED case, and you can switch parties. But when you go back to the electorate will punish you. Most turncoats have been punished by the electorate. Also this time, India has very large, solid bloc components. The Congress has 100 seats. SP has 37 seats. Trinamool has 29 seats. DMK has 22 seats. NCP and UPTA have 17 seats. So this is not a ragtag bunch of members that you can lure away. This is a solid bloc. So yes, it's a question of time. But the question is not whether they will get 300. The question is when people will join us and we will cross 272. The ruling party's politics have always been along the lines of religious hate and ethnic divisiveness. But even at the height of their power, when they got 303 seats, 1 out of 2 Hindus had not voted for the BJP. This time, even in their core Hindi heartland, their core voters have deserted them. The Muslims in India, over 250 of them, called infiltrators, called terrorists in the land of their birth, waited silently, patiently, and bided their time. And in one voice during this election, in every state, they stood up and they told the government, and I quote the poet Puneet Sharma, "Hindustan se mera seedha rishta hai. Tum kaun ho be? Tum kaun ho be? Kyun batlau tumko? Kitna gehra hai?" The Dalits, whom the BJP paid lip service to for so many years, realized that even the talk of 400 seats meant that Baba Saheb Ambedkar's constitution was in danger, and they deserted the party. The Marathas, whom the BJP coalition had tried so desperately to woo, realized that their promises were worth nothing. The BJP and its allies lost 7 out of 8 seats in Marathwad. The Jats, the careers of their youth at risk with this ill-conceived Agniveer scheme, their farming livelihoods threatened, their female wrestlers manhandled. They vented their ire at the ballot box. Ultimately, it was the BJP's policies of exclusion, not inclusion. You wanted to exclude everybody, and that was your undoing. You didn't need Muslims. You trampled on Dalits. You ignored farmers. You ignored Jats. You marginalized Kashmiris. Well, they consolidated their voice during this election pan-India, and today they don't need you. That's the message they've given you during this election. ये देश ही अपना हासिल है जहां राम प्रसाद भी बिस्मिल है. मिट्टी को कैसे बांटोगे? सबका ही खून तो शामिल है. That's what they said. You can't divide us. You can't do it anymore. This new India, this new frame of reference is going to be very hard for a lot of interest groups. Perhaps the first casualty is the legacy media. The Godi media was its own worst victim. The brown-nosing TV anchors and online trolls lied, spread fake information, amplified the government's propaganda. So-called psephologists who actually had printing contracts from the government of India were on TV 24/7 acting like the election was a done deal. There was no need for voting. The BJP had already won. Media moguls organized conclaves where they prostrated themselves before the Vishwa Guru. Anchors used staged interviews and set up scripts. In short, the media had lost all credibility. So when you asked the people during surveys which way they voted, they didn't trust you and they didn't tell you the truth, which is why you got it wrong. Ram Kamal Jha, the editor of the Indian Express, remarked that some media owners were so comfortable on their knees that it hurts to stand up. To them we say, please stay where you are. There is a new generation of journalists in India today with spine, with integrity, and with courage. A media you have done your best to silence with fake cases and attempts and censorship, but they have survived and they will thrive in the digital space. I will also touch upon another pillar in our democracy, the judiciary. 2 days ago, the Honorable Chief Justice of India, while on a visit to Calcutta, remarked that judges were not deities. They are here to dispense justice with compassion. Just as one can't be partly pregnant, you either are or you're not. Justice and democracy too must be absolute. They cannot partly be in effect. The retirement age for High Court justices is 62, and the retirement age for Supreme Court judges is 65. Now, this has unfortunately contributed to High Court judges kowtowing to the Supreme Court Collegium and to the government for a last-minute elevation to be able to serve for 3 more years and then qualify for further sinecures, such as the head of the Lokpal, the head of the National Human Rights Commission, chairman of various tribunals. It has come to such a state that opposition leaders framed in politically motivated cases are denied and bail and denied justice simply because judges are even scared to touch their case for fear of offending the government. Today I say, the poorest people in India who have perhaps the most to lose from offending the government in power, they have shown spine and risen to the occasion. Your lords and ladyships, heed thy inner voice, have a spine, rise to the occasion. 7 months ago, on the 8th of December, this house was transformed into a Kuru Sabha, presided over by a blind Dhritarashtra, where Dushrasan Darbaris made every attempt to disrobe Draupadi. The Ethics Committee that voted to recommend my expulsion on the 9th of November, they voted 6-4, had 10 members and 1 chairperson. Of the 5 Lok Sabha members from the BJP, 4 have not returned to the House. The chairperson, a BJP member, has also not returned. The Congress turncoat from Punjab who voted against has also not returned. The BJP lady MP from Maharashtra who started the debate in the House on behalf of the BJP has also lost. Much like Lord Krishna protected Draupadi, the people of Krishnanagar have protected me. In the last year, a lot of people look at me and say, "Oh, Mahua, you must have lost a lot. You lost your membership, you lost your house. And by the way, I also lost my uterus due to a surgery." But you know what I gained? I gained what Rahulji said, the freedom from fear. I do not fear you. I will see the end of you. We will see the end of you. Your ED, your CBI, your income tax, your trolls, your media, nobody can scare us. The people of India are patient. They will wait patiently for this government to fall. And I hope that whoever writes the next speech for the Honorable President of India will give her the respect and the honor due by not filling it with falsity. This government has dishonored the office of the President by giving her a script that is full of... We wait, and the people of India wait, for the restoration of her honor and for the honor of her august office. It is in this hope that I bow my head to the holiest of our books in its 75th year of adoption.